Hello everyone, I'm Diane. Welcome to my channel, Beyond the Sewing Room. So today I thought I'd share with you 5 ideas for saving money while enjoying your sewing hobby this week. So I thought this is very timely because I know lots of people are trying to save money at the moment. You still want to enjoy your hobbies, but we need to think of things that we can do where we don't have to go out and spend all the time. So first up, number 1 is make a fix, change or alter pile from your wardrobe. Now we all have things like this knocking around, so I have a few. I've done 1, 2 this week already and I have a couple more to go. So I'll insert a couple of images right here. So the first one that I did this week was I had this dress. This was from a work project about 2 years ago, and this was back when I got to keep a few of them. They all go back as samples now, but this particular one, I loved it when I made it because I love the fabric. And as I said, it was a work project. It wasn't me just being wasteful. I got to keep this one. And then I folded it up thinking I would deal with this because the only thing I didn't like was the high-low hem. Now the high-low, it was very much on a gradient from short at the front to very long at the back. And it was just a little bit too much for me. What I've done this week is I've got it out and I'll show the image, and it is now all one length. So I had to do this in stages. I had to cut it off, hang it on my mannequin overnight, let it settle because of the way it's cut, and then just check it. And then I've hemmed it, and the other thing I didn't like was around here, I felt the lining with it being dark showed a little. So what I've done is I've used the bottom that I cut off to make some binding that matched, and I've bound around the armholes. So that's one job ticked off my list, and nothing bought for this particular project. It was something I already had, and now it will be worn this summer. The next one is this blouse. Now I have worn this, it's not been left unworn, but you may find you have this with some of your clothes. Because we are slightly bigger on one arm, the dominant arm, than the other, it has a very fitted sleeve at the bottom. It's spacious at the top, fitted sleeve at the bottom. And on my stronger arm, it feels like it clings a little bit. And it's not a huge problem, but I do find that when I wear it, if I lift my arm up, it'll stick about here, whereas the other one just drops down because it's a little looser. So that is one to be fixed. So I've put that to one side. I'm going to do that later today. And that's another thing that's been niggling at me that will get changed. There is also another dress that I've earmarked to make alterations on. One that I do wear, but I know I can make it better. Go through and have a look. Just pin little labels to things. You don't have to do them all in one go, but make a point of making a start. So that's number 1. Now number 2 is to research sewing books that you think you might be interested in or that you might like, and then check out your library system. So I often get books from the library, and I've had lots of sewing books in the past. I don't tend to just rush to buy sewing books. I do have a few, and quite a few of them have been thrifted. So this particular one is actually going back to the charity shop because it's not been used. I enjoyed looking through it. It's very beautiful. Had it a little while now, but as I don't have any girls myself, I know somebody will have granddaughters that they can be making for, or daughters, and somebody else will love this. It is just so beautiful. It has all rag dolls with clothes all the way through it, and I paid £1 for that from the charity shop. But books like this are on the library system. I'll insert a few images of ones that I've seen this week, a few I've had before. The one with the bags, I do own it. I bought it second hand, but that one is on the library system along with a few other bag making ones that I've seen. Plus all the sewing bee books are on the library system here in Sheffield, so do check out your own library. You can keep them for 3 weeks, and then quite often you can renew them again. So maybe 6 weeks or longer is plenty of time to look through a book, pick out a few projects, and if there's something you like, some of them do have templates, but you'll need to trace them off, of course. And it's just a great way to sort of scratch that shopping itch, but don't actually buy anything. So while you're researching them, you can research them on Amazon. Do pop them on your wish list, but don't pop them in your basket. And don't get too attached to any, because there will be ones that you can find on the library system and ones that you can't. And you may find ones that you've not even heard of. So don't just get attached and think you definitely need to find this one or else you have to buy it, because you don't. They're all very similar. So have a look, pop them in your wish list. If you are really attached, let family members know, and then maybe you could have those for Christmas. Let them know what's on your wish list nearer the date. And as I said, I've found loads. You can even go in the search engine and just pop in things like sewing, crafting, refashioning, all these different search words, and lots will come up that you didn't even know of. So that's a great way to find sewing books and new sewing projects without spending any money. Now, number 3 is to go through and look at Pinterest trends or sewing trends that you're interested in. Have a look at the pattern. Make a line drawing. If there isn't one available, maybe you can find one by checking out the pattern on the website and then looking for the line drawing, and then getting yourself a screen grab of it and then saving it on a piece of paper. Once you've done this, go through all your patterns. So I know I've mentioned this before, but I've gone through this one so many times in so many different forms. And as I saw in the comments, a lot of you have as well, because New Look 6483 is just a brilliant basic tee or tank top, vest top, whatever you want to call it. And most tops just follow this basic shape or pattern. You can go on Pinterest or any of the sewing trends that you've seen and have a look and identify the details that make those new tops that are the current trend, that make them different. Jot them down, spend a little bit of time with scrap paper this weekend or when you have a bit of time or when you're off on leave, and just have a look what's making the changes to these basic tops or dresses or whatever. Pick out your patterns that are closest to it, and then you will find with a little bit of tracing paper you can add in those extra details. You don't have to change the original pattern. I've done this lots of times, and you will find that with a little bit of practice and patience you can change up most patterns to fit anything that you need, really. So this is a really worthwhile skill to gather. And don't worry if it doesn't work out first time, but pick something easy first of all, like a basic top like this one, and then just make small changes to it. It helps if you save a few images first of all to work to, and maybe if you do this on some thrifted fabric or something like an old shirt or something like that, or an old duvet or an old sheet, something you already have, then you haven't wasted money. So that's another one to have a go at this week and do a bit of pattern hacking yourself. Number 4 is to join a patchwork challenge, or if you can't find a patchwork challenge, there are a few online. If you have a look, put the search in and go on different sewing groups, you can have a look for these. You can find them on Pinterest, but also it doesn't have to be a challenge as such. You could just go on various sewing websites. I'll pop a few links in, because I think I might have shared this in the past. There's the Bernina one, and there's also the Juki website, which have got lots of lovely ideas on. I did share a few in a previous video for some of the small makes. Projects were found on there. But also on there, and also Moda. Moda is a great one. If you go on the Moda website, I'll insert an image here, and also I'll pop a link below. They have templates, so free templates that you can work to. And they do have challenges such as a block challenge where you can make a different block each month. So these are a great one for using up those scrap fabrics. So any pieces that are cotton that you have left over, it's also a good idea to cut these into small squares, set pieces or largish squares that you can manage, and then maybe you can colour code them in a box or an old shoebox or something. And then once you've done that, you can join in and just make a block when you have time. Now, you don't need to commit to an entire quilt or cushion cover at this point. I did do one similar. I'm going to insert an image of my quilt right here that I made a couple of years ago. So somebody was doing a little group challenge on a frugal person that I follow on the internet a couple of years ago. She shared the dimensions of the block for the quilt she was making and invited people to just join in and then add some images on her group, which was on Facebook, and I did that. I didn't find that many people joined in, and I think I kept sharing images, but I think only a few sort of went along with this particular one, but I didn't mind. I had the dimensions to the quilt. I started it in February, so it was sort of a winter time thing, coming through to spring, and it was meant to be a spring quilt. I did finish it in time for spring, and then I loved it when I'd finished. It didn't cost me anything apart from a piece of lightweight wadding, which I bought on eBay. That's where I got mine from. And that wasn't expensive. Everything else was bits I already had. I'm really happy with the result, and I've got it on my bed now as our summer quilt. So this is something that you could work towards, but you could just make a cushion cover or maybe smaller coasters, things like that, a table runner, something of that nature. But just to make the blocks in itself is fun, and you're using up pieces you already have. So do have a look, do check out the Moda site and have a look. You may find something you want to make this week. Now, number 5 is to prep and go through fabrics that you already own, you already have, and find a purpose for it. So go through it, wash and prepare it, measure it, see what size it is, so that you have a clear idea of what you can do with it. So you can use paper or masking tape, or just pin a piece of paper to it with the dimensions of the fabric on, possible pattern ideas, possible makes. So again, you could use the internet for just search for things you like. Make sure that you have in mind the sort of size of the piece before you search for something in particular. Again, go through patterns you already have or search free ones online. And just label up that fabric once it's all prepared and pop it in a neat stash, ready for when you have time. So I've done a few of mine. I'm going to pop in an image, and these are the ideas that I have for mine. So one is a lightweight jeans, a pair of trousers, possibly autumn trousers, those ones, and the skirt, sort of autumn winter denim button-up skirt. So these are things that I have on my future to make list. I have the fabric ready and it's in a pile ready to go with the idea already on it. And that's something that I can just pick up in future if I have some time and I'm not sure what I want to make on a particular day, and I don't need to buy anything extra for that. So these are things for the future, as I do have a few summer projects that I've shared that I will be making this week and over the coming weeks already in mind. While you're doing that, you could also go through your sewing supplies. I do this every few months, and also your sewing storage, just to keep on top of things. I tend to put some music on or a podcast, and it's always a bit daunting to get started because I work in a small room and I have lots of leftover fabrics, often from the sides of things that I need to store, and I don't want to throw it out because I don't like waste. But I do like to keep on top of it. So I did mine just recently. I have a bag for the charity shop of things to go. I also have a bag of fabrics, smallish pieces and colourful pieces that I won't use. But my mum's neighbour has her own sewing room and does patchwork and makes lots of things for the grandchildren. So she's told me in the past that she loves to receive the fabric. So every now and again I take her a bag full of pieces that I know I won't use. And it's going to a good home and I know it will get used and it's not going in the bin or landfill. So that's great. So I've done that job this week. I did it while listening to some music that I love. And that's another great way to just keep everything organised, keep on top of what you have, and it stops you going out and buying anything new when you've got things that you already have that just need a little bit of organisation. Now, I hope you've enjoyed those tips today. Please let me know in the comments below any of yours. I do love to hear them. Remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment because it all helps out. I look forward to sharing more sewing ideas with you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.